Well, hello everybody. Hi. All right, so as you can see from the description or the title, today we are going to be talking about my three biggest diet mistakes that I made. I wanted to share with you what I've gone through and how I fixed them because holy cow, in the beginning, I made a lot of mistakes and all with good intentions. But they really did send me down the path of just making things a lot more challenging. And as I've grown in what I've been doing, so I've been, a personal trainer, yoga instructor, Pilates instructor. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm now in my 40s, and I have learned so much, and I have taken not just what I learned from my biology degree or my certifications, personal training, nutrition, weight management, but also I've taken a lot of my information from amazing coaches here online, and I've kind of integrated it from doctors all over the world, personal friends of mine, and I've integrated it into this new approach that I want to share with you because, like I said, I had some big mistakes, and I'm going to tell you about my mistakes and how I fixed them right here, right now. Three big ones, and hopefully you don't have to go down the same path I went down because I know a lot of people in my audience. You are gorgeous ladies who are watching this. You are ready to move past what you have known when it comes to diet and exercise. You are probably ready to go, okay, I want to feel more aligned, right? Maybe right now you don't feel like you have a really good balance in your life. Maybe you feel like some of your choices and actions aren't aligning with how you want to feel, how you want to show up, and your diet directly affects your energy. Your diet is going to directly affect how you show up, your confidence, how your clothes fit, right? Like your essence, the essence you are embodying is going to be directly correlated to the energy you are putting into your body, right? Like we are what we eat. So that is why I felt I really wanted to talk to you guys, and especially the women out there who are ready to just feel more in alignment, have more energy, that are ready to really listen to their bodies and stop listening to everyone else and do what's right for them because we are all different. So, number one, this goes directly into this, is not listening to my body. That is probably the biggest takeaway when it really comes down to it, is I separated myself so much from my body, my intuition, my hunger cues, my cycle as a female, and what my body was telling me to do, what my body was craving, what I was desiring. And this goes even further, not just your diet, but like how you nurture yourself in your business, what kinds of foods you are choosing and gravitating towards. Are you giving yourself time and space to just sit and eat, or are you always on the run? So, not listening to my body. Some of the things that I had to really focus on is things like I was at the time using stimulants like coffee to push off needing to eat, because in my brain at that time I was like, well, if I eat less and I push off having to eat in the day, then I will eat less calories and that will make me leaner, right? Or even I found at that time when I didn't eat, I actually felt better because I wasn't giving myself the proper nutrition in the first place. So not eating actually made me feel like I was more in alignment. So I was consuming stimulants instead of eating, and it was taking away my hunger cues. Stimulants are more for men and their energy, they're doers. They work well with cortisol and stress hormones. Women do not. We do not want to be dependent on stimulants. Two, like I said, I was restricting. So I wasn't listening to my body. I was intentionally not listening to my body, which led me to binge eating, which, if any of you guys know me, I did have an eating disorder for many, many years. I was bulimic for a really long time. No one knew this. It was one of my really big, deep, dark secrets. And part of that came from this not living in alignment, not listening to my intuition, and restricting, which led to binge eating and feeling out of control. I had so much control that I was controlling things that I didn't need to control, that I actually needed to lean into to feel better and actually be in a body that I felt aligned with. When I'm talking about this, I'm not just talking about weight loss. I'm talking about whatever alignment, whatever body is your dream body, whatever body feels good to you, that's what we want to move back to. Another thing that I tend to do, and I do have some notes here, is not eating in a way that honored my hormones. So not only was I restricting and I was using stimulants, but also I was ignoring this huge thing in my life, this huge energy in my life, which are the feminine hormones. It is what makes us females, these feminine hormones that change on a day to day, week to week basis. I did not know at that time, and now I know, thank goodness, from all of my mentors and the doctors I've worked with to create my programs. But our hormones change, and you need to eat and listen to your body. So if I would have just tapped in, and when I was hungrier, allowed myself that grace to eat more, especially of carbs and certain foods, I would have found it was much easier to maintain my weight, find my natural weight, my natural alignment in my body, just based off listening to my hormones. And once you understand and you become more intuitive, you can actually listen to your hormones and they will guide you. But if you're so far removed, if you're all in your mind and you're not listening to your body, again, a lot of us, our brains are actually in our body. They're in our DNA, and they're in our cells, not in our brains. So sometimes we have to turn this down and listen to our body. So number one, not listening to your body, my body. I did not listen to my body. Now I'm really, really good at it. Number two, this one I'm just going to make brief, but honestly, what I didn't do when I first started, and it was a huge mistake, is I was focused on what I couldn't eat versus what I could eat. So I want you to know one thing is most of us do need more protein if we're trying to release weight and we want to keep our metabolisms up. Now this is for a short time. This is called the fat loss phase. This isn't forever, but sometimes we're so far out of alignment, we have to do some things to bring us back to where we want to be, which is having a faster metabolism, having more lean muscle, so that we can biologically reduce our age, so that we show up with more energy. We are younger, we fight off disease, we look healthier, we feel healthier. How we look, how we feel, all kind of go hand in hand. But number two is eating more protein and focusing on the good stuff. So a lot of times we focus on what we can't eat. At least that's what I did. I was always focusing on what I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat those cookies. I couldn't eat that. But when I made that switch and I just started focusing on all the things I could eat, all the foods that gave me all this energy, all the beautiful, gorgeous, raw fruits and vegetables, especially during certain times of the month when they just really give us so much energy. And, like I said before, I was restricting because I felt better when I wasn't eating. It's because I wasn't eating the right things. So focusing on the good things that you can eat that align with you, that aren't sensitive to your body, that make sense with your hormones depending on where you are in your cycle. And if you don't cycle, and let's say you're 50s, 60s, and you no longer have a cycle wherever you are, this still works, because obviously there's still going to be foods, because you're still feminine, you still have that energy, and there's still certain foods that are going to agree with you, that is going to make this process so much easier. And number three, the one thing that I wish I would have focused on more, that was a huge mistake on my part, and it took me so long, was really focusing on my emotional state when I was eating. Really focusing on the emotional aspect of it. Not like, we do want to focus on the strategy, right? We want to focus on the kinds of foods and how they interact with our bodies and our goals. But if I wasn't focusing on my emotional state, one, I would eat things because I was in distress and I wanted comfort. I would eat things to numb emotions, and I would tend to feel really sick. A big thing that I learned that, in my journey, what I came across was releasing unresolved negative emotions. And so for me, what this allowed me to do, one, it allowed me to release all these negative emotions from the past, which kept rearing their ugly head. Once a month, if you have your cycle still, once a month, these emotions are going to come up and you're going to be like, A lot of us feel like this is a negative thing when we become emotional, but it's really our body's intuition bringing these emotions up and going, it's time for you to deal with these. And a lot of us, combined with our hunger and our hormones and our metabolism and all of that kind of revving up, going into the phase where we need more nurturing and we need to handle and resolve these unresolved negative emotions. A lot of us feel like this is a negative. There's this outside force telling us that we shouldn't be this way, that we are emotional, but it's honestly the universe's way, God's way, energy's way, whatever you believe, our biology's way. Like, it's in our DNA to pull this up for us, to work on it at this time. This is the time when we're meant to work. It all goes together. So you want to listen to your body. You want to eat the foods that make sense with your body, whether it's during a certain time of the month. Yes, I'm so glad, Teresa, that this is resonating with you. This is what we are going to be talking about more in the Feminine Food Code. So if you guys are watching this, you can drop code below, and I have a free masterclass coming next week. So just drop code below, and I will share that information with you. But I want us to realize that these emotions are going to come up, and they're going to keep coming up, and they're going to keep coming up, and they're going to get louder until you learn the lessons, the soul lessons, and then this is going to help you on your journey of whatever you want, whatever that weight is you want to release. If you want to release physical weight, then release the physical weight that has come on from a lot of times the emotions, right? The not listening to ourselves, the eating the wrong foods, but also you're going to release unwanted weight of judgment, the unwanted weight of not being who you are, the unwanted weight of fear, the unwanted weight of the guilt, the unwanted weight of not being able to forgive yourself. All of this comes when you decide, okay, I'm ready to release the unresolved negative emotions, and I'm ready to use my food in a way that feels good, that aligns with me, and I'm ready to deal with the emotions in a different capacity. And so these are the three biggest things. One, not listening to my body was a huge mistake that now I'm so glad that I found the right path. Two, eating the right foods, not focusing on the things I can't eat, but really understanding what I can eat and how it interacts with my body and how delicious and yummy food can be, and getting in more protein. And then number three, that emotional eating, understanding where it's really coming from. The biggest mistake was me ignoring the emotions and thinking that this was a diet problem, right? Me thinking that it was an issue with my diet, the food, eating too much, really underestimating the internal conflicts, the internal resistance, underestimating that and ignoring the emotional component of emotional eating, and having that for me turn into bulimia, turning into a eating disorder. So I just wanted to share with that, and if it resonates with you, if you guys watch live, give me a hashtag live. I see a few of you out there. If you guys are catching the replay, give me a hashtag team replay. Let me know if any of this resonates with you. Let me know 1, 2, or 3. Which one is it? Not listening to your body, not focusing on eating healthy foods versus unhealthy foods, or is it the emotional eating? Which one do you think is the one that is your biggest mistake that you might be making? And like I said before, if any of this sounds interesting to you, I have a free master class. It's called the Feminine Food Code, and I'm going to be going over this and much, much more, and how you can permanently release the weight, the unwanted weight on your body that is keeping you from a body, your dream body that you feel aligned with, or the unwanted weight that is on your shoulders, of not living a life that's in alignment, not having balance between your life and your work, maybe just not the weight of not being 100% yourself, embodying that essence, some kind of resistance, some kind of roadblock. That is who this is for. Someone who is ready to give up dieting, who desires that real root answer to the unwanted weight in their life. That's all I have for you guys today. It's a short one. Again, if you want to join me, drop code below. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you hopefully at the masterclass if that sounds good to you. All right, guys. Have a great one. Bye, guys.